By the end of this video, you are going to be able to complete everything on your to-do list. And even if you don't have a to-do list, you'll be able to fulfill your vision that you want and be able to crush your daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly goals. I'm going to show you why 99% of what most people tell you isn't true and what you should be using instead of it. So let's get straight into it. So if you are a real estate agent and you want to actually get done what you set out to do, then listen up. Firstly, you need to be tracking where your time goes. If you're watching this video, most likely you're not productive enough. But have you ever taken the time to actually see where your time goes? Okay. Firstly, what are you actually doing all day? Okay. A really easy thing is to pull out your phone and check your screen time. Right? How much is that is actually productive work? Now you might do some social media posts, but let's be honest, how much of that is actually content creating? The next question you really need to ask yourself is, where am I spending the most of my time? Is that prospecting? Is that talking to people? Is that talking to my colleagues? What actually is that? And how many hours a day do you work? Alright, so you need to figure out how many days out of the 8 hours a day that you work, how much of that is productive work. We want to be like a pilot. If you ever seen them, most of the time they're on pilot mode and they're not even doing anything. They're just sitting there making sure that everything's right so that in case something goes on, they can control it. This is kind of like what you want to do. You do not want to be in manual mode where you're constantly changing things, you're constantly steering, you constantly have to be aware and conscious. We don't actually want that. What we want to do is we actually want to plan our day out. What we want to do is, before you go to bed, you always want to plan your day. I cannot stress this enough, because you need to simply know what you're doing tomorrow. Just do it, get the work, and then you repeat the cycle, and then you do it the next night on what you actually want to do. So a great way to do this is actually by having this daily tracker of what you're going to be doing, and I can actually provide this for you. And it's great to know what you should be doing. So let's check this out. So this is a document that I have created and I've used, and here's a little session of what I'm doing in the day. So 6 a.m, wake up, breakfast, I'm leaving for gym, come home, follow up systems with my SMS, work from 9:30 to 12, working, I should say I have a lunchtime, but yeah, I usually have my lunch during work, leave for work, and then I have some more activities here. So if we go back to the document, it's great to know what we should be doing. So if you ever actually thought about what you should be doing, now would be a good time to actually go through this. And then you can actually put your priority tasks. So for me, that would be attending meetings, cold calling, and sales follow-ups. So the next part is that at the end of the day, you want to see what you've actually achieved. Okay, so we will get into defining what we should achieve and why we should achieve it. But look, if you want to get things done, you need to know what you actually did at the end of the day. Alright, and then you can look back and say, well, look, I think I did well. The next thing we want to do is, what distractions were there? So, for instance, we can do how do I improve, or distractions. So after a day's work, we can say, well, look, I spent quite a lot of time on YouTube and Instagram, and that was definitely a distraction. Okay? So this is a document I use every single day. I plan out my day. I make sure that I'm following this, and obviously, look, it's good to have some spontaneity, but you need to know what you need to do, and just say, look, for this certain amount of time, I'm going to do this. Even if I don't get anything completed, I'm just doing that, right? So this is when we need to set ourselves some weekly goals. Okay, so what do we want done within the week, right? What would you consider to be a successful week? I don't know what that looks like for you, but I will get into how to set goals properly. So you don't want to look at sales as, I did X amount of sales today, I did Y amount of, this today, alright, or auctions or something like that. You don't want this. You need to have this mindset, which I'm going to talk about right now. So this is this inputs theory that I honestly, in my head, always go off of. Because if I think like, look, I'm not having a successful day, well, think again, you actually are, okay? So let's say that we want to make X amount of sales in a month, okay? We want to sell 4 houses. Well, how do we get 4 houses? What activities are we going to be generating sales from? Well, obviously cold calls. So let's do cold calls here, okay? So say we do cold, right? Inputs would be cold calls. How many? Alright, that's when we go to action and process. Let's say we do 100 cold calls. Alright, 100 cold calls. And out of that we might get, 1 or maybe 2 appraisals. Alright. And then from there, we get feedback. So out of those, how many did we actually convert? Alright. Or what are people saying? Okay. So you could do converting and, feedback. Okay. So the way you want to look at this is we don't want to look at this outputs because it's irrelevant. We need to look at the inputs. So the inputs are our actual leads. Okay. This is the most important thing, leads, okay? So what leads are we feeding into this system, okay? So that once we're making those calls, they're going to convert, all right? And we simply just want to put a bunch of leads, thousands, all right? Thousands, because that's how many you want to call. If you made thousands of calls, okay, or you got 1,000 leads, from there you got 1,000 cold calls, right? I can tell you that it wouldn't be 1 or 2 appraisals. It would be something like 20 to probably maybe 30 or maybe 50 even. I would definitely say 50. Alright, if you're really good, even if you're closing at like 1%, alright, you should be getting even 100. So that's less than 1%. That's about 0.5%, so half of that. And if you're looking at your goals, it's like, well, I want to make 4 appraisals or sales today. Well, that's good, but you should just be worrying about your inputs, your processes, and then the outputs, and then this feedback loop's happening. So if you put in, let's say you're making a car and you put in really bad materials, plastic, stuff that's not stable, and you go to make an engine, and then you're coming into here and you're putting in, really bad garbage, right? Really bad garbage. And then in the processes, let's say, the machines is really faulty, so it's really slow, it takes forever, so now it's taking forever. And then outputs, what do you expect? The car is gonna look not great, okay? So the car won't look amazing, but if you put in very good materials, okay, and your machine is working to build your cars, then your output is going to look a lot better, okay? Don't mind the drawing of the car. But this is kind of how I look at goals, and I don't want to look at it as an end result, but more of actions. You want to be thinking in an actions mindset. So if we come back here, okay, I have this document, alright? Now, this is very sacred to me, and I use this all the time. And what it is I plan out my whole month so that I can just obliterate it, and you can even plan out more than just your month, okay? So I want to show you it here. Okay, so I have some here, and if you see here, I have per day, alright, per day, everything from my month, right? So we've had the day schedule, now this is the monthly schedule. Now you can go all the way to the start of the year, and then you can actually color coordinate what you want done. So like by the end of the year, you say, look, I did this consistently, and I achieved this goal. And the crazy thing is that, for every month, I can say, end of goal is, make something user-friendly and, adopt a lean strategy, okay, which is a book that I'm reading. But the point is that if you plan something in advance, there's still spontaneity, all right? Spontaneity happens from being able to know what you should be doing, okay? So going back to this document, all right, this is what I want you to do, and I'm going to set you this challenge, okay? And I want you in the comments to tell me what you achieve. So I want you to answer these couple questions, all right? What weekly goals do you want, all right? What actionable goals do you want? Potentially 2 posts a day, 100 cold calls a day, 200 cold calls a day, something like that, all right? And that should be your goal. What was your biggest distraction? Was it social media, talking to staff? How many hours did you have deep, uninterrupted work? I mean, be honest to yourself. I mean, you're only lying to yourself if you don't answer that question correctly. And if I could have any extra tips, when I'm working, I would honestly listen to just classical music. It helps you a lot. You can look at the benefits. There's plenty of articles and studies on how it improves your productivity and creativity on top of that. And the biggest needle moving factors would honestly be cold calling, door knocking, even cold emails. But, those needle moving activities. If you take what I said and just this small little demonstration I've shown, then you can see that this is absolutely insane, right? Instead of thinking of, I want to get five sales, okay? 5 sales per month, right? You should be thinking, I want to do 200 cold calls per day, okay? Because if that happens, then it's inevitable for you to get 5 sales. Heck, you may even get 10 sales, okay? So look, without further ado, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like me to give you these planning documents, I definitely can. However, thanks for sticking to the end of this video, and I can't wait to hear what you say in the comments. Bye for now.